But here's the thing. Here's the thing you really have to ask yourself is, all this chaos is, of course, echo chambered in the press, because the press they know all these people, right? They talk to Reince Priebus. They're on the phone to all these people, and the people they know. So they're going, it's chaos, it's chaos, it's chaos. The thing you have to ask yourself is, how does this affect your life, right? Do you care that Reince Priebus is out of work? I mean, does it mean anything to you or your freedoms or your constitutional rights? And of course, it doesn't. But the important thing is the politics, because you can defend Trump. And I don't care if he fires Reince Priebus. It does mean that he's cutting himself off from the Republican Party, but we're not that thrilled with the Republican Party right now. But in order to get anything done, he's going to need the Republican Congress. And by getting rid of Reince and by picking on Jeff Sessions, remember Jeff Sessions is a former senator and they all get along and is very collegial. By doing this, he is making himself a total outsider. Okay, fine. But while he's doing this, they're voting on this health care bill. And, John McCain, and I wish him good luck with his illness. I think it's very sad that he's so ill, but he has really been a lousy senator for the right. I mean, he really has been. If you think about the McCain-Feingold Act, which we had to work so hard to gut finally, it finally got gutted in the Supreme Court, but that really was an anti-free speech act, limiting the way you could spend money spend money on campaigns. I mean, money is speech in a campaign. It's the same thing. You can't just say, oh, you have free speech, but you can only hold a cardboard sign next to the freeway. That was McCain's big contribution. He blew the election, the 2008 election, by basically deserting Sarah Palin, who made his campaign work. Sarah Palin made his campaign work. That's the numbers show that. And he was, he kind of ditched her because the press didn't like her. And then he did that thing where he suspended his campaign. He has been just a net loss for conservatives. And he was again when he voted down this health care bill he had no excuse. All it was doing really was sending this bill to a reconciliation debate with the House so they could keep talking about it, keep it alive. He voted to do that and then voted it down saying, well, they might have made this the law and it was not a good law, but everybody knew it wasn't a good law. They guaranteed him they were going to change it. They knew they had to reconcile it with the House. He's just like, does this stuff. The accusation against him is that he's always playing to the New York Times, that he always loves being called the maverick, the outsider. And of course, they're slapping him on the back and all this stuff. But at the same time, the chaos, that is not what Donald Trump should have been doing during that vote. He should have been on the floor. He should have been calling these guys. He should have been talking to McCain. During the election, I said the campaign, I said nasty things about you. I'm sorry. Just making it work. That's his job. That is his job. And he showed he could do the job by getting them back on the floor, and then he dropped the ball. If he wanted to fire everybody, if he wants to pick on Jeff Sessions, if he wants to start all this controversy, not the time to do it when your central legislation of this term is on the floor. It's bad politics. So again, ignore the press. I mean, the press went nuts, right? This chaos. Peggy Noonan, I love Peggy Noonan. I think she's one of the best political observers out there. And I always say what I love about her, she writes like a girl. She has a different way of looking at things than most male columnists and most female columnists who are pretending to be male columnists. Peggy Noonan has a kind of much more intuitive, much warmer, much gentler way of looking at things, and it really does frequently make her more accurate. But she just lost it on Trump last week. She wrote a column. Did you see this column, Austin?
No.
Oh, my.
Enlighten me.
Listen to this. Listen to this. The president's primary problem as a leader is not that he's impetuous, brash, or naive. It's not that he's inexperienced, crude, and outsider. It's that he's weak and sniveling. It's that he undermines himself almost daily by ignoring traditional norms and forms of American masculinity. He's not strong and self-controlled, not cool and tough, not low-key and determined. He's whiny, weepy, and self-pitying. He throws himself sobbing on the body politic. He's a drama queen. It was once said sarcastically of George H.W. Bush that he reminded everyone of her first husband. Trump must remind people of their first wife. Actually, his wife Melania is tougher than he is with her stoicism and grace. With him, it's all whimpering, accusation, and finger-pointing. Nobody's nice to me. Why don't they appreciate me? His public brutalizing of Attorney General Jeff Sessions isn't strong. It's limp, lame, and blubbery. ouch, I mean, it's like, yeah, hell hath no fury goes right down, right below the belt for the guy. And there was a lot of that going on, just a lot of just absolute impatience on the right with Donald Trump. He finally went too far. The Scaramucci thing went too far. I got to be honest. I don't care if he's a chaotic manager. I don't care if he's an efficient manager. I don't care as long as the health care bill gets passed and we start to get rid of Obamacare, not just because I want to get rid of Obamacare, but because I think that what the left is doing is they're using Obamacare as a stepping stone to government health care. And I think government health care is a disaster. You want to see the left at work. I gotta play this cut. This is an amazing cut. You have got to listen to the logic, but you got to listen to it closely. Comrade Bernie Sanders is on with Jake Tapper, and he's pushing single-payer health care. He says that while the right is failing to do anything about Obamacare, and they are failing, while the right is failing to do anything about it, the left is preparing a big push on single-payer health care. And so Tapper says, well, wait a minute. If single-payer is so good, why can't left-wing states like Vermont, like your state, Vermont, and California, which just kind of failed to push this thing through when they saw how much it was going to cost, why haven't they succeeded in having single-payer health care? Listen to this carefully. Here's Tapper's question, and listen to Sanders' answer. It's an amazing piece of left-wing chicanery.
Let's talk about single-payer, because it was attempted in your home state of Vermont, and it didn't work because they couldn't get the funding because it would be too expensive, the Democratic governor said. And then recently it failed in California as well. Democrats, again, not able to come up with a way to pay for it. These are cobalt blue states, Vermont and California, where people wanted single payer, and there were problems because it would cost too much. How do you make it national if you can't even get it in Vermont or California?
It's not no. Let's be careful about this.
All right.
A single-payer healthcare system, in my view, and according to studies that I have seen, would save the average family significant sums of money. And what Republicans sometimes do is confuse the issue. And they say, well, you're going to pay more in taxes. What they forget to tell you is that if you were a family of four, now paying $15,000 or $20,000 a year in private health insurance, you're not going to be paying that at all.
So think about that. If you were watching, that was like a magic trick. It was like you had to be watching it to see what was going on. Jake Tapper says California tried to pass it, but they realized they couldn't afford it. They were right there. They had the votes and everything, and they got back the budget estimate, and it would have bankrupted California. It's 3 or 4 times over, right? It was just would have driven us into the sea. Vermont, same thing. They can't afford it. There's no money there. And Sanders' answer is, oh, yes, but you'll be paying less. You'll be paying less. In other words, the federal government can hide that debt, that amazing debt, for a little bit longer than a state government. A state government, that's why you want all your governing to be done at the state level. The federal government can print the money, basically, but ultimately that leads you to become Greece. You become like this ruined, debt-ridden country with no services, nothing going on. But that's his answer. This answer, it'll be cheaper for you. We'll go bankrupt as a country, but you'll be paying less. It's absolute chicanery. And